Girl was pouring dog food into a bowl when she accidentally triggered a time travel event. The dog food was transported to 1,000 years ago, where a group of soldiers, starving for 4 days, desperately needed sustenance. But the small amount of dog food wasn't nearly enough to satisfy their hunger. Meanwhile, the girl noticed that the food vanished almost instantly. Puzzled, she grabbed another bag and poured it in, only to find that the bowl seemed bottomless and couldn't be filled. The more she thought about it, the stranger it seemed. Determined to get to the bottom of this, she placed the bowl under a running faucet and let water flow into it all night. By morning, the bowl was still empty. However, in the ancient past, the soldiers were astonished to see fresh spring water gushing out of what they perceived as a magical treasure bowl. Cheering and celebrating, they believed it to be a divine miracle. The general, deeply moved, burned sacred talismans to express his gratitude, but as the paper turned to ash, the ashes mysteriously appeared in the modern girl's face, leaving her covered in soot. Furious, she grabbed a dog bone and threw it into the bowl in anger. Still unsatisfied, she dumped all of the dog treats into the bowl out of spite. Back in the past, the soldiers were ecstatic. The dog treats, appearing like a heavenly blessing, provided a feast they hadn't experienced in ages. They even began cooking meat in their newfound abundance. The general, overcome with emotion, knelt and prayed for 3 days and nights. To further express his gratitude, he wrote a letter and placed it into the bowl. Suddenly a letter flew out of the bowl in the modern day, smacking the girl square in the face. Startled, she hesitated but decided to read it. The letter, signed by the ancient general, pleaded for divine assistance, explaining that their people were suffering from a severe drought and surrounded by enemy forces. Initially dismissive, the girl reconsidered. What if this is real? She emptied her entire pantry, pouring all her food supplies into the bowl, figuring she wouldn't eat it all anyway. In the past, the soldiers watched in awe as a steady stream of food flowed from the treasure bowl. Overwhelmed with gratitude, they knelt and praised the divine gift. To show their thanks, they offered their most valuable treasures, gold, silver, and even the general's heirloom jade pendant, into the bowl. The girl suddenly noticed the bowl returning gifts. One by one, precious jewels and gold appeared in her hands. Suspicious, she took the items to an antique shop, only to discover that they were genuine artifacts. The jade pendant, in particular, was identified as belonging to the youngest general in ancient history. Tragically, he had died at just 21, leaving behind countless legends. The girl rushed to research his story and found his name in history books, realizing she was truly communicating with people from 1,000 years ago. Desperate to learn more about the general's fate, she shouted into the bowl, hoping for a response, but no matter how loudly she called, the bowl remained silent.